Okay, it is 3 o'clock. Today is October 1st. We are at Fargo Planning Commission. First item is the order of agenda. A few changes, item 1A and B, and item D1, Northdale First Edition plat zoning change and annex are continued to November 5th, 2024. Item 5, Austin subdivision, a conditional use permit is continued to November 5th, 2024. There will be no presentation by staff on these items and no action will be taken by the commission. Other than that, that is all the changes. Do I have a motion?
I'll move to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Next item, Next item is the minutes of the regular meeting of last month, September 5th, 2024. Commissioners, have you had a chance to review the minutes? If so, any changes? If not, I'll take a motion.
Move to approve the minutes?
Second.
Motion and second. I guess we should probably all in favor say aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Okay. Hearing items. We'll move on to public
Madam
hearing.
Chair,
Yeah,
you need to take roll too, please.
for the,
No,
A roll call vote.
oh, should I do that for the, should I go back to the, okay. So approving our agenda, we had a motion and a second. Let's vote on item A, order agenda. All in favor signifies by saying aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Okay, there we go. Now we're caught up. Okay. Hearing items 1A and 1B have been continued, so 2A and B will be presented by Donald. We are hearing on Selkirk Place, 3rd edition.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Donald Kress of the Department of Planning and Development. I'm going to talk slowly here. Our project representative, Mr. Eunice, says he's about 3 minutes away here, so we'll get into the project here and hope he is able to join us here. Our first item, as the chair has stated, is Selkirk Place 3rd edition. Commissioners, you recently saw earlier this summer Selkirk Place 2nd edition. This property is located, here's 64th Avenue, I-29. Selkirk Place 2nd edition is right here, which has already been approved and recorded. Selkirk Place 3rd edition is proposed right here. This is Drain 53. It's a zone change from agricultural to SR4 single dwelling residential and PI public institutional. And you'll see how those lots play out here in just a moment. It's tough to get a shot of this one here. So this is Selkirk Place 2nd under construction. And this back here would be Selkirk Place 3rd. You're facing southeast, standing on the overpass embankment. Had to do a little hike in there to get a good shot. Here is from across Drain 53, actually, just to show you. We're standing over here now and looking west. This is where 67th Avenue will continue, where it stops here on the east side of the Drain 53 across the drain, and that'll be on the north side of the project site. So the project will be down here. The zoning here, as stated, is agricultural. The plat proposes 143 lots. There's 142 single dwelling lots zoned SR4, and there's one large lot, lot 11 here, which will be a Fargo Public School or Fargo Park District lot, and will also have a detention basin on it. The developer will convey this lot to the Park District after the plat has been recorded. And the Park District, I don't know if the commissioners know, but the Park District is part of our review process. They're involved in our pre-development meetings and also other meetings related to anything that develops a park property here. The zoning lays out pretty much like you might expect here. This is SR4 zoning on all the single family lots here, and then PI zoning, public and institutional, which is appropriate for a government-owned lot. And again, this is just be developed as a park, probably along the time that the individual lots are developed here. I don't think the Park District has a timeline quite for that here. Because there has always been intended to be a park in the Selkirk addition here, the Selkirk area. So this is going to be that here. And the recommended motion here is stated in the staff report and shown on the screen. Staff's recommending approval there. I didn't talk slow enough. Oh, there you are. Okay. The project representative, John Eunice of Eagle Ridge Development, is with us this afternoon and may wish to address the commission. Thank you, commissioners.
Thanks, Donald. Commissioners, any questions for Donald?
Donald, on the water retention, is that in the PI then for this? And
I
how
believe
does that work?
I'm going to pass that one off to Mr. Borboom, our assistant city engineer.
Yes, that's the intent is developers proposing kind of a combined use there with the park and the pond there. So we're still working through those fine details, but that's the intent is there'll be combined uses there.
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead.
And Donald, per the housing study and the need for the missing middle and more affordable housing, would some of these smaller lot sizes meet the criteria that was intended with that, do you think?
These are narrower lots. I realize you can't really see the dimensions. These are mainly between 38 and 42 feet. And again, this is a long block, so there's no additional cross street, which cuts down your infrastructure costs there too. Perhaps Mr. Eunice can tell us what he plans to develop on these. I believe these are detached single family, but he can maybe go into that detail with you, sir.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Donald? Do you want to present? Just introduce your name.
Commissioner John Eunice with Eagle Ridge Development, the owner and developer of the property. To your point, yeah, the smaller lots are going to be more affordable homes, not just from the home construction standpoint, but also the special assessments associated with those lots. And as for the park lot, it will be a combination of detention and park improvements. And we've been working with the Park District over the last 6 months on this project and kind of creating a holistic park program from 64th Avenue all the way down to 76th, since we own and control everything down to 76th as well.
Any other questions for the app? Go ahead.
More so a comment on just the layout of the whole development, and I guess I just really appreciate the gridded street pattern there. It's very efficient, and I was curious when your team was working on laying out the streets here and going with this simple grid on here. Was that at all in response to the growth plan, which suggested to lean more into an orderly gridded street layout?
Yeah, good question. I think, like anything, there's a time and a place for, more curvilinear roads and larger lots. And one of the big things that came out of that housing study was the need for that more affordable single-family option. So that was one of the driving factors in how we decided to lay the development out. And things like block length are important and I'm sure engineering can talk to it, but when it comes to sanitary sewer and other infrastructure costs, there's a kind of a magic dimension you can hit to try to minimize those costs.
Go ahead.
John, I'd also like to mention that I want to thank you on putting these easements in. I think that's a big deal to have these easements so that the garages are lined up more properly so that it's easier for snow removal and for other things. I think that if you continue doing that, especially on these small lots, that's going to help from an operational standpoint on these roads.
Yeah, it's in addition to those easements that we put on there, we also widened up the right-of-way a little bit, which is the same thing we've done in other developments to try to give more of a boulevard area for snow storage, in addition to, formalizing where those driveway approaches can actually connect to the road so that we do create those on-street parking opportunities.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll go ahead and open up the public hearing. Anybody want to say anything for this item, 2 Alpha 2 Bravo? Anybody want to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Commissioners?
I'll make the motion to approve per staff's recommendation.
Second.
Motion and a second. Do we have any discussion on the motion at all? Okay, go ahead and take the roll.
Rosenberg.
Aye.
Holtz.
Aye.
Haas. Aye.
Shuey.
Aye.
Mose,
Aye.
Schmidt,
Aye.
Tossett.
Aye, motion passes. Next item, item 3A and 3B, major subdivision, replat of lots 1 through 10, vacation of a public alley in Block 7, Keeney and Divot Second Edition. Also zone change from DMU to MR3 multi-dwelling residential and LC limited commercial to DMU.
Thank you, ma'am. Our next item here is the HAL addition. As the chair has stated, a major subdivision and zone change. This is located right down the street here. Here we are. And on the what is popularly known as the SARS block here, it is the 600 block of 4th and 3rd Streets North between 6th and 7th Avenues. It comprises the entire block, Block 37 of Keeney and Divot's second edition, which is noted in your staff report as having been platted originally in 1878. So once your commission approves lines on the ground, they stay there forever. And the plan here is to replat this into one single lot. We'll look at the site here. You've probably been by this if you've driven through downtown Fargo here. The applicant owns all the properties. J2SL Partners owns all the properties here. They have demolished the former SARS Sudden Service gas station and the dental lab, and then the houses are slated for demolition soon here. This is just looking down 4th Street and 6th Avenue. This is looking down the 3rd Street side. Notice the demolition is on the houses, which are vacant, obviously. And the current zoning here, as was stated, there are actually 3 zonings on this block. Part of it is DMU, part of it is MR3, and there's a piece of LC down here. And the developer would wish to rezone the entire project to, the entire block, that is, to the DMU downtown mixed-use zoning. The plat, pretty simple here, again, takes all 10 lots of the Block 37 and then vacates the public alley. Staff supports the vacation of alley, so there'd just be one large lot for development here. As noted in your staff report, since this is in the downtown neighborhood and right across the street from the Horseman neighborhood, right across the street here in 3rd Street, we did have a public meeting on September 12th in the Meadowlark room upstairs, and we did notify property owners as well as the neighborhood representatives for downtown and Horseman neighborhoods. We did get some attendance there. Their comments are summarized in your staff report. They were generally supportive of the plan. At that time, the developer did not present a specific plan for this development. The preference of the neighbors there would be that any high-density development would be more toward the west side across from the existing condominiums there on 4th Street, and that would taper off in density and in intensity as you approach the single dwelling and small apartment buildings here on the east side. The applicant's representative, Stephen Lingstead, is with us this afternoon and may wish to address the commission. The recommended motion is stated in your staff report and shown on the screen. That concludes staff's presentation. Thank you, commissioners.
Thanks, Donald. Commissioners, any questions for Donald? Go ahead.
Donald, the comment from the neighborhood about locating the higher density and maybe taller building, should that be the plan for this on the west side of that block? Is that already due to our residential protection standards? Does that kind of force them into that regardless?
The RPS would figure into that too. Yes, sir, that's correct.
Okay.
Donald, assuming approval of this today, would this be represented to us once a formal plan is?
Well, no, this part would not. This is just a zone change in the plat, Commissioner. So this would go for, if your commission would, this would go forward to the city commission for approval. Once you're in the DMU, the developer would have to create a project that fits the standards of the DMU. But unless some additional entitlement were required, you would not see that. That would be just a building permit application. And we believe that the developer intends to develop within the DMU standards. And, you know, the RPS and the related standards, as Commissioner Schmidt mentioned.
Do those standards have a height limit on the east side of the property that's next to the single-family homes?
The residential protection standards would govern that.
Any other questions? Thanks, Donald.
Wait, sorry, I do have one. So access would be just 6th Avenue then going forward is the intent?
Yeah, the emphasis here, Commissioners, there's a lot of, as you drive down there, there's a lot of driveways around there. And our intent would be to close any access from 4th Street and 7th Avenue. There would be the primary access off 6th Avenue, and I think there would be some off 3rd Street. Again, I'm going to turn to our Assistant City Engineer here. Is that right there, Nick?
Yeah, that's correct. What Don says correct for access points.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other questions? Okay, thanks, Donald. Applicant, have anything? Do you guys have? Come on.
Hey, Stephen Linkstead. Yeah, I think Donald pretty much nailed, most of what we were thinking. The DMU allows us to kind of use most of the block instead of just ramming everything on the west side, but it's our intent to have more of the high density towards the west side, certainly.
Do you have a timeline that you're kind of working on right now to redevelop that?
We're working on the demolition right now, as Donald mentioned, but the houses, we're waiting on asbestos reports still, so that's a couple weeks out. So once we have that done, it'll probably be the spring until we can do anything. But our hope is to have everything down this winter.
Any other questions for the applicant? Thank you.
Thanks.
Go ahead and open up the public hearing. Anybody have anything they wish to say on agenda 3A and 3B? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and close public hearing. Commissioners,
Make a motion to approve this staff report.
we have a motion
I'll second.
and a second. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, go ahead and take the roll.
Schmidt,
Aye.
Hess,
Aye.
Mose,
Aye.
Rosenberg,
Aye.
Holtz,
Aye.
Shuey,
Aye.
Tassett.
Aye. Motion passes. Thanks, Donald.
Thank you, ma'am.
Moving on to item 4, the Village West Fourth Edition with Megan.
Good afternoon, Chairperson and Planning Commissioners. Item 4 is Village West 4th Edition. This is an application for wholesale sales in the GC General Commercial Zoning District. This application is located at 902 40th Street South. So up on your screen, you can see the property here. There's 9th Avenue on the north, 40th Street on the west. Just north is the movie theater, and then Interstate is here, as well as 13th Avenue south, just to give you a little context here. These are some images just looking into the site. Right now, it is currently surface level parking. And so the request would be to add wholesale sales here. The intent would be to build a structure that would include some retail as well as wholesale sales within the one building, which I'll get to here shortly. So up on your screen, you can see the current zoning. Red is the general commercial zoning district. Here is a preliminary site plan. So as I noted, the intent would to be have a retail component here on the northwest side of the building, and then general wholesale sales for other businesses to come and purchase product here. The applicant is here. Apologies. We did receive one call of inquiry with no noted concern. Chris Mack with Christensen Companies is here if you have any questions. Up on your screens, the recommended motion. Please note that there's a typo in your staff report, and which notes industrial service, but should be wholesale sales, which is up on your screen. So note that if you do make a motion. And then also up on your screen is recommended conditions, which are pretty standard of what is recommended for industrial uses within the general commercial zoning district. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thanks, Megan. Commissioners, any questions for Megan? No questions, making it easier on her. Applicant, is there anything you wish to?
I don't have anything to add. If you have questions,
Anybody have questions for the applicant? No questions, okay. Let's go ahead and open up the public hearing. Anybody want to speak on item number 4? Seeing none, go ahead and close public hearing. Commissioners?
Move to accept the staff findings as detailed on the screen with wholesale sales.
I have a motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion on the motion? No discussion. Go ahead and take the roll.
Schmidt,
Aye.
Holtz,
Aye.
Mose,
Aye.
Rosenberg,
Aye.
Shui,
Aye.
Hess,
Aye.
Tassa.
Aye, motion passes. Item 5, again, is continued to November 5th. Moving on to item 6, bringing Donald back up on Southwest Fargo Mission Second Edition.
Thank you, ma'am. Agenda item 6. Say, Commissioners, just for your background, I'm just going to add one item here. You'll notice on your agenda that 2 items were continued. Those continuances were at the request of the applicants. So we continue to work with them, but they requested those continuances as opposed to staff directing them. Agenda item 6 is the Southwest Mission Second Edition. Commissioners, you received a laydown item, a conditional overlay. We'll talk about that in more detail in a moment. This property may seem familiar to you. We've had several entitlements here over the past few years. This is 45th Street and 40th Avenue South, Living Waters Lutheran Church here, recently subdivided into 2 lots here. This is County Drain 27. Here we're standing on the shores of Drain 27, looking southerly across the lot here, which is actually ends about over here. And then going to the other side of it here, standing on 40th Avenue, looking northerly. These buildings are on the adjacent property across the drain. And then here's what that driveway into 45th Street looks like. That's actually serves as city lift station. It's off the side of the photograph here. But that will provide an access as well as through the parking lot on the south side. Zoning here is GC General Commercial with a conditional overlay, which was applied when this was replatted here about a year ago. The applicant was originally intending to build a mixed-use building. Situation has changed, and he wishes now to build an all-residential building using the MR3 zone, 24 dwelling units per acre density. And so that's the proposal, and we've added a conditional overlay to that because it is on 2 arterials there. Again, you're familiar with these conditional overlays. The one you got today is updated. Nothing too dramatic there. We have been working with the applicant, so the differences are that item 8, which talks about the percentage of the building footprint per underground parking, has been just clarified. We just had a little better wording in there. And then item 3, which talked about the screening, the applicant provided some additional graphics to us showing different angles on the building height, and we refined that a little bit. We actually used phrasing from another recent CO, so we felt that was appropriate to make that change. So again, nothing too dramatic there, just refined it a little bit based on the actual proposed development. The applicant, Chris Mack of Christensen Companies, is with us this afternoon and may wish to address the commission. Recommended motion is stated in the staff report and shown on the screen. Thank you, commissioners.
Thanks, Donald. Commissioners, any questions for Donald? No questions. Any questions for Mr. Mack? No questions, unless you want to. No? Nothing to add?
I don't have any additional
Sounds good. Let's go ahead and open up public hearing. Anybody wish to speak on agenda item number 6? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and close public hearing. Commissioners?
Move to accept staff findings.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, go ahead and take the roll.
Rosenberg,
Aye.
Mose,
Aye.
Holtz,
Aye.
Shui,
Aye.
Hess,
Aye.
Schmidt,
Aye.
Tassa.
Aye, motion passes. Item D1 is continued. We have a request. Can we get an update on the city commission,
The LDC.
the LDC?
Yeah, so, good afternoon, Commissioners. Yesterday evening, the contract
was approved by the city commission. It was on the consent agenda. So thanks for your feedback last month. And so we'll be spending a couple more weeks to just to finalize the paperwork, but we'll be spending then the next few months getting that kind of the process, if you will, coordinated amongst their team and our calendar set for marching ahead. You can expect those probably first public outreach elements to be at the start of the new year, I think is what we're kind of leaning towards. So it'll take us about 60 days to kind of get our methodology, if you will, all calendared out. And then we'll bring that back to you as well as we get that all figured out. Obviously, the Planning Commission will be our primary stakeholders, along with the development community and all those that touch the zoning ordinances in various ways. There'll be an extensive outreach process as part of that.
Made Art really happy.
Yeah.
Commissioner Rosenberg, I should say.
We are also very happy. So,
Thank you for all of your work. Excited for some more work on LDC, and as we have a copy of our growth plan in front of us, pretty exciting. So thank you very much for all your work. If nothing else, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Motion second? We are adjourned.